hit record. All right. So the 5-day kvCORE challenge is really just 5 days to create some type of routine and what's the word? Almost like a pattern. Okay. So kvCORE can be a hot mess express. There's days when I love it. There's days when I really just do not like it. But what I have found is if I make a point to actually like get in there and I'm doing it regularly, then it doesn't become so much as a chore because now I have something to do. So over these next 5 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share just very small tips that you can do inside of your kvCORE that's really going to help you out. A little bit about me. My name is Jackie Durbin. I'm a real estate agent out in Arizona. I'm originally from Kentucky, Louisville, and I was licensed there as well. Before I got into real estate, I was a teacher. And so teaching is kind of like my passion. That's why I love first-time home buyers. But I've also found that I really love retirees who are relocating to Arizona because they love to talk and they love to play golf. And those are my things. I'm a mom of four. I have 4 kids. I have a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and then an 8-year-old. And my husband and I are in business together, which that can be fun on some days. And some days it can be a little stressful when you give people tasks and they don't do it. So kvCORE, whether you have been using it or you have just started it, these are just going to be super easy tasks. I'm going to share something for each day. I'm going to give you any type of resources that you could use in order to implement this. And then I'm going to show you very quickly how to do it in kvCORE. If you have any questions about this specific thing, by all means ask, and I can answer those. So today what we're talking, oh, you are the best. Today what we're talking about is just making sure that you are getting people into your kvCORE. So when I first started in real estate, no one knew me. I was not a known name. I did not come from a family of real estate agents. And I was in a city that nobody knew me and I talked funny. And so what I had to do was every day, my goal was to make 10 new friends. It could have been the person at the deli counter at the grocery store. It could be the person who was checking out my groceries. It could be the person that was pumping gas on the other side of my pump. Now, what I found was I came from a state where you talk to everybody, even if you don't know them. And now I'm in a state where that's really not common. So if you find that to be true in your area, just make it where it's effortless. The next thing that I did was I created business cards that had a QR code on the back. My business card and the QR code goes directly to my kvCORE website. And so I would have 10 business cards in my back pocket at all times. And I knew that by the end of the day, I had to give them out. Now, if you have school-aged children, you have car rider line. At our place, people like all the parents like to get out of the cars. And so I would go up and I would introduce myself to all of my son, all of his classmates' kids, or like their parents. Okay. Now my son has autism and he's in a classroom of all kids who have autism. So there's only 9 kids total in the class. So that was only good for one day. And then I was like, okay, now who can I meet? And so I was going everywhere. If there's model homes, you can go to the model homes and give these to the real estate agent that's there, because guess what? That's a way to generate relationships. Okay. So what I always tell people is 10 people a day. That's the goal. Okay. If you are working in a state where the title companies work very nicely with the real estate agent, where it's kind of like a fostered relationship, you can get data from your title company. So one of the title companies that we work with very closely in Arizona is called Chicago Title. Chicago Title is a national company. They have a program called Chicago Farm. Okay. So what I can do is I can put in a neighborhood, or I can use the map tool there on that program, and I can do a targeted list. So I can get a list from them, from all these statisticians that are way smarter than me, and they can give me a list of people who are most likely to sell. Because what I found in real estate is buyers take a lot of my time. And when you come from teaching where your day ends at 3:45 and you're off on the weekends, it's very hard to get into the mindset of, okay, I have a buyer, they're working, they're not going to view homes until like my dinner time and bath time, and weekends were very precious to me. So what I found was I would prefer to have the listings. And so I would talk to my title company once I had the list and say, okay, here is the list that I have. I need emails and phone numbers of all of these people. And then it was like the boiler room movie, okay, where like everybody's making cold calls. I don't like cold calling people. And so what I do is I try to find a way to generate a conversation beforehand. So one of the areas where I would get people into my database each day would be my neighbors. Okay. So I'm calling them to talk about something that's going on in the neighborhood or something that I've noticed. Hey, it's Jackie. I'm one of your neighbors. I'm also a real estate agent. I just wanted to call and let you know there are currently 5 active listings in our neighborhood. They range from this price to this price. It's these 3 model of homes. I don't know if that's your model or not, but would you like me to share some of that information with you just so that way you know what's going on in the market? Now, yes, it's a cold call, but at least I have some valuable information I'm giving them. But at the end of the day, 10 people a day. All right. If you are doing what's called a bulk import, and I'm going to share this in the chat. Hang on. This is the bulk import sheet that I use for kvCORE. Okay. And if you've ever attended any of my kvCORE classes, you probably have this. But let me go ahead and put this link in here. It is a Google sheet. Once you open it, because you are only a viewer, you are going to have to make a copy. To make a copy, you just click File and then make a copy. Name it whatever you want. But basically inside of this sheet is where you can put a large group of people. So their first name, their last name. If the information you're getting from title is all in one line, it's totally fine. Just put it in their first name and leave their last name blank. Email is important. Type of status, I leave that blank because when I import it into kvCORE, I can select, okay, these are all prospects, or these are all sphere, or these are whatever. Hashtags, unless I'm going to make each of these a different hashtag, again, I do not have to put anything in this column. If you do, please read the directions. No spaces, no hashtag symbol, or if you were born in the 1900s, that's the pound sign, okay? Cell phone number, yes, it doesn't matter how it's formatted. It doesn't matter if it has dashes or dots, it still works. Lead type, I don't put anything there just because I can do it when I do a bulk import. Assigned agent, obviously that's you. You do not have to put your name in there. Home phone number, I don't put that in because I can't send text messages to a landline. But the most important thing is answer true, 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 unless they are on the do not call list. If they're on the do not call list, then say that this is false, okay? And usually the title company will tell you who's on the do not call list and who is fair game. But what this is, these are those 3 questions when you add a lead to kvCORE that says, do you have permission to call, text, and email them? So just make sure that you've got that on there. If you have their address, put it in there. If you don't, you can leave it blank. If you know when they closed on their house, because it's on the spreadsheet that title gave you, you can put it on there. If not, it's totally fine. Leave it blank. If you want to put in their spouse's name and email, you totally can. These are for search criteria. The only time I use those columns is if I came from a different CRM and I'm exporting my data and I had searches already set up. I can put that information in these columns so that way it automatically starts those once I import. A lot of my Remax agents that I've helped with kvCORE have used that formatting just because when they moved over from one CRM to the other, they were able to export that data. But again, it's not a requirement. And then this is if you want to put any notes, okay? So you can put in the notes, title gave me this is a targeted list or whatever it is. Once you have imported all the data, you go to File, Download, and you want to download it as a CSV file, okay? Once it has downloaded, you go into your kvCORE, and you're going to go to Lead Engine, all lead engine tools. So when you go to all lead engine tools, you see your, what is it, nine different choices that you have. On the second row, all the way at the end, it says bulk import. That's where you can import an entire database of people at one click of a button. So I'm going to say start the import, submit the file. I have to check this box that says I accept the policies. And then it's going to bring me to this screen. When I get here, I notice that it already has my first and last name. It has my email, and it also has my phone number. Now I just need to answer the rest of these questions. So I'm going to say I am an agent. I'm in the United States because I'm not in Canada. Remember on the spreadsheet, I said there was some columns that you don't have to answer. This one says, who are these leads going to be assigned to? They're me. I own them. Those are two columns that you do not have to fill out inside of the actual spreadsheet. This is where you're going to upload that file. And if you forgot, it's right here. It says, hey, it has to be a CSV. So you just click choose the file, and then it'll be there on your computer, and you just pop it over there. Do you have a separate note file? Okay. A note file would be something that's not in a CSV format. So that, because this is a Google Sheet, this is not a note file. So we're going to say no. My notes are in my file. How do you want their status to be? If you have them as different statuses, like some of these are my spheres, some of these are my prospects, some of these are my past clients, that's totally fine. Otherwise, you can say, hey, import these as this. These are all this type of people. This is the only part on kvCORE that I've ever seen how they kind of define the status. And this is one common misconception that I get from a lot of people. They will import their sphere, right? So people who already know, like, and trust you, they're in your phone. They may be followers on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And they put them in as the lead status sphere. Well, that's not the appropriate way to tag them. Okay. You can do that. That's totally fine. But if Bill decides to go look at a property on your website, now he's become a prospect. And so it's important when you add those people who are your sphere, make sure their hashtag is sphere of influence or SOI or however you're going to put it in there, just so that way you can find them easier. Because kvCORE does move them between sphere, prospect, and new lead, and active lead based on their activity inside of the system. Okay. And you can move them to wherever you want also. All right. Do you want a hashtag? Yes, please add them as a hashtag. That way they're super easy to find. Adding hashtags to clients is, I think, probably one of the most important things, because it's a way to categorize them. 2, I can filter all of my contacts and find the people I want very quickly. And 3, I can associate a mass email and schedule it based on their hashtag. I can also trigger a campaign based on a hashtag. And I can figure out, okay, who's everyone who's attached to this campaign? Oh, it's the people who have this hashtag. So then I can stop it for certain people. But again, I'm not your boss. You can not put a hashtag. If you want to add a specific one, no symbol, no spaces. It's not case sensitive. So just know that. This is another one of the columns that I said you don't have to put anything on there. If I know that they own a home, they can be a buyer and a seller. On the spreadsheet, it only allows you to pick one in the dropdown. On this one, you're able to actually select multiple people, or I'm sorry, multiple categories. Do you want to add search alerts? That's if you are transferring your information from one CRM that you used to use and you had those searches in there. Typically, I just say no. And then do you want to go ahead and start a campaign? Like, do you want to trigger a campaign to go ahead and start once these people get in there? I don't do that either. And the reason why is because all of my campaigns are triggered with a hashtag. So if that person has this hashtag, the campaign's already going to run. I don't have to worry about anything else. Then it says, if you have any questions or comments, put them in there. I don't. Now it says 3 business days. I don't know that I ever remember a time that it took 3 days for my bulk import to be added, unless there was a crap ton of people on it. Most of the time when I'm adding people, it may be like 100, maybe 200 people at a time. And if I put in a bulk import right now, it may be finished by the end of the business day, or it may be tomorrow. Once you click submit, you will get an email from the people at Inside Real Estate, and they will say, we've received your request, or we've received your information. And then you'll get another email once it's all up and ready to go. All right. Has anybody ever done a bulk import, or maybe not done a bulk import? The ways,
Definitely not.
so the ways my teenagers were able to go on YouTube, because entering all of my contacts in my phone, that would have been tiresome. Okay. And so my kids were able to go into YouTube and find some video where they could export all of my contacts from my phone. And then it gave it to me like in like a spreadsheet type thing. And then I was able to just copy and paste them and put people the way I wanted. And then obviously on that case, in the hashtag column, I didn't leave it blank. I put different things in there, like church friend, or, you know, one of the kids' parents' friends, or whatever it was. So that way I could kind of sort through them. Yes, Renee.
So you said email was important. Would you upload people that you have the address and phone number and no email? And then would you create a property alert if you know the neighborhood and everything in that same location, except like a ranch instead of a 2-story, or what do you usually do?
Yeah, the only thing is if I don't have their email, I'm not going to be able to set up a market report, and I'm not going to be able to send out properties. Now, as a property alert. Now, I can still share properties through texting. Also, another thing that a lot of people don't know with kvCORE, if people have not opted in to text messaging, if you set them up on a campaign where there are text messages, they're not going to get them. If you send a mass text to everyone that you just imported, welcoming them to your website, they're not going to get it. So it's a little bit of time. There's a little bit of time consumption on that side, because I have to send them an individual text. So that way they get the notice, hey, if you want to unsubscribe, that's totally fine. Click stop. I have tons of people who do that. Sometimes people say not nice things like lose my number, or whatever other colorful language that they use. I don't know how they didn't have soap in their mouth as kids, but that's beside the point. I ignore those people. So what I would do is, if it's people in my phone that I only have their phone number, I'll type up, you know, some type of whatever, like, hey, you know, it's Jackie. This is my business phone number. Because if I have their phone number, they have mine. And they're going to be like, what the hell number is this? This is not your number, Jackie. This is fake. They're going to think it's spam, or they're going to think that it's some type of like raw deal. And so what I always say is, hey, it's Jackie. This is my business phone number. My personal number is still, and then I give them my personal number. I wanted to ask a favor. Will you check out my website and tell me what you think? I recently made some changes. Thanks so much. Hope the family is amazing. And that's it. And I add the link to my website. Now, the people who want to give me business also want to help me out. And because I asked for them, hey, will you do me a favor? Has anyone ever said, hey, will you do me a favor? And you're like, no, F off, go away. No, we always say, of course, yeah, what do you need? And as long as it's within our scope of reference, we're totally fine with doing it. So if you click that link, they're going to go to your website. And now they're going to be able to be like, oh my gosh, I love that photo of you. That's a great photo. Hey, you know what? I've looked at homes for Zillow, and this is super hard. So now it tells me I need to make some tutorials on how to use my website. I need to go live on Zoom and then broadcast it to Facebook and show people how to use my website to search for properties. Because I hear that a lot. This is really hard. Zillow's so much easier for me to navigate. Yeah, because it's made for a consumer. Our kvCORE and our IDX website is made for an agent. So we just have to educate people on how to use it. But yeah, that's an awesome question. All right. Anything else? No? Everybody got their business cards handy? All right. 10 10 today. I'm going to do the challenge as well. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I've got my 10. My business cards that have my QR code on the back, I got them from, oh, what's that place online? What's the place online you can order business cards? What's it called? Vistaprint. That was it. Vistaprint. And they were super cheap. The other thing that I do is whenever I'm doing like an open house, like if I have an open house scheduled today or whatever, I grab my business cards. I usually grab a few more than 10, like I might grab like 20, and I'll do the 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left. And on the business card in my Sharpie, I say, hey, I'm hosting the open house on the street. Come by and say hi. And then I do the 10 across the street. So then I'm giving out my cards to more people, and always use painter's tape, because painter's tape will come off of front doors. Don't use some other kind of tape. Unless you're in Arizona and then no tape is really good, just put it in the door, because it's going to melt. And they're not going to like you because you just put permanent adhesive on their door. All right. Any other questions on today's challenge? All right. 10 people in your database. That's it. That's super easy. It's like, I mean, unless you're on the East Coast, it's still morning time out here out West. Okay. So it's 9:30. I have plenty of time. If you have kids and you know you're going to pick them up, or you're getting car ride or whatever, bring your cards with you and introduce yourself. It's going to be weird at first. It's totally fine. Okay. We're allowed to introduce ourselves to people again. All right, guys. Well, I'm excited. I hope that you got at least a small nugget. This video will be housed on my YouTube channel, and I'll create a playlist that says kvCORE 5-Day Challenge. And then this one will just be titled Title 1. If you were not able to download the spreadsheet, don't worry, I'll have it in the description on the YouTube video, so you'll be able to click it from there as well. All right. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank you. This is very helpful.
Thanks, Jackie.
Well, good. All right. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you. See you tomorrow.